Hello, everyone. So I spent about 3.5 hours, a little bit longer than I really wanted to, getting everyone up to speed on strength and health, dexterity, and marksmanship. And now I will show you the result of how that turned out. We'll also go through everybody's skills, and then we'll prep for the next step. So this might be a little bit shorter. Also learn a little bit about income, right? So um, looking at the people, I said that you very rarely see the actual name you put in for name. This is the only place you see name. And it see their names there, right? Um, but this is the only place that you will ever see whatever name you put in the beginning. Otherwise, you're always referred to as your code name that you gave, and I gave Gosselin. All right. So I normally, and I say normally, I haven't played Stracciatella that many times. I haven't used these most recent techniques that many times. Um, so um, based on my experience, based on my previous time, I was able to get him up to about 72. But the starting weight point was at like 225, 230%. This time, all we could get to was at 181%. I guess our equipment was a little bit lighter, didn't have as much heavy stuff to throw onto him. So with that 60% lower encumbrance, it actually made it much harder to get that high up. Um, by the time I got to 70 strength, he was already at 98%. Previously, when I started at 230 and stopped at 72, he was still at like 119%. It still felt like it was taking a long time. I got bored. This time I stuck with it, got him all the way down to 98% encumbrance, and I was not going to do it anymore. Now, strength goes up based on encumbrance, right? So the lower your percentage, the longer it takes to do. But your health goes up based on the number of times you jump back and forth. So last time, getting him up to 72 strength, I got only like 78 health, which is a little bit lower than I wanted, but I was bored. I was willing to take it as a lower acceptable point and work on it more. This time I got them all added 17, got them all the way up to 82. Now, you can call this cheating. You can call this an exploitation of a bug. You can call it an exploitation of the system. Basically, you play a game to want to feel powerful, to want to feel smart and good. Um, Using this method that, and it took time to figure out. So it's not like and so I guess I'm giving it free to you, but it's not like it was in the instruction manual or as a cheat or something. Um, it took me a long time to figure out how that worked, but just from playing years, right? I figured that out. And I'm giving it to you for free. But it actually, you can see that I have 52 extra points. And in the process of adding experiences, that put me up experience level 4. So anybody else playing this game at this point, which is one fight under the belt, might have, maybe they got an extra marksmanship, or maybe they got an extra point of strength. I got basically an extra 52 points that I got to allocate specifically to health and strength. And then I'm level 4. So that means everything I do is going to be more effective. That makes me feel better. But on the other hand, based on my experience, I don't just have to follow the normal path of taking a group and going to Drassen and then slowly building up the strength and the defense until I can resist all the invasions there, and then going over to Chitsena and then doing the same thing. I can actually move a lot faster. I know that I can hire 9 people, and I can keep them, extend their contracts just in time. It's really close. It's a little bit of a challenge. And I can actually go after 3 different places at once. So it kind of self levels the challenge. In some ways, if I did it the normal way and just went to the east to Drassen, it wouldn't be as much of a challenge. It would be just automatic. And maybe someday I'll try that again. Maybe I can do that and show you how that would work with me. But for right now, I'm showing you my ambitious. This is the way I play. This is the way I find fun. And I like to push myself to grow as quickly as possible and take on the biggest challenges as quickly as possible and finish the entire quest as quickly as possible. So that's where I ended up. Buzz got all the way up to 83 health, so from the low 70s all the way up to the low to mid 80s, which is good. I started working on her dexterity, but since dexterity is a lower priority than marksmanship, she was the last person. And at this point, when you use equipment, it starts to degrade just from use, right? The more you use it, the more it starts to fall apart. And so the condition goes down. The lower the condition goes down, the increases the probability randomly generated, but with a probability factor that it will malfunction. And certain consumables like uh, light sticks and also small things like knives will actually totally destroy, and then they're not fixable. Guns, they'll jam, and then you can unjam them and continue to fire them, but each time it makes their condition worse and increases the likelihood that they'll jam. That's one of the reasons why you want to always keep your stuff repaired. Um, but so if I kept going, I wasn't going to get her many more points because it was starting to break too often, and so if I hold on to the knife and repair it, get it up to back up to 60, above 60% condition, then I can always do her dexterity by doing the same knife trick with Ocelot later. Plus, there's another character that we're going to hire that also needs to have their marksmanship and dexterity and also health and strength increased. So we're going to do this anyways. I'd rather have that extra knife because the more knives you have, then the more it spreads out the lower degradation of the quality. So it seemed like at this point wasn't getting enough. The cost benefit meant it's better to save it, to accept her lower dexterity, and move on. Same thing happened with their everybody's marksmanship. I usually try to hit for 88 to 90, but because of this, I actually ended up with a spread between 82 and 86. That's as good as I could do with the knives that I had. I could have continued on with one knife, but again, that would have degraded it even quicker, would have been slower, and I was getting bored. Um, so, um, and so, 82 to 86 means that there's still some marksmanship challenges. That kind of makes it a little bit more of a challenge, a little more fun. Q got him up to 86 marksmanship. He was one of the first. The knife hadn't degraded much with him, and then 87 dexterity. That makes him really good for medical. Barry got him up to 88 health. I remember saying I was going to get him to maybe 84, but because of the number of times he went back and forth, got him all the way to 88. Got his marksmanship to 85. Was going to stop at 84, but he was really close to dexterity. It was worth it. The knife didn't break. Got him to 90 dexterity, 85 health. He also went up one experience level. Um, that's good. It's also bad. Steven didn't do anything with him. He's already good enough, high level. Dexterity is 78, which is not great. Um, he won him in the 80s, but his marksmanship is already 82, and the knives were breaking. So, all right, just stuck with that. Got Daniel up to Danny, Doctor Danny got him to 82. Got his dexterity 84, 79. Yeah, it's on the lower level of acceptability for somebody that needs their dexterity, like a repairman or a doctor. But he's just really good. He well, we'll talk about it a little bit, but his marksmanship will go up very rapidly. He also, I think, because of his agility, I think his agility gives him a boost to his marksmanship. So he actually hits at times that I would think no one should, or more often than he should. Igor got his marksmanship up 84, dexterity 73. We're definitely going to be doing the knife trick with him later to get his dexterity higher. Because while he's not a very good medical guy with only 17, mechanical's 36. He's one of my mechanic guys. Need to get his dexterity up in the mid 80s. Thor, same mechanical, 35 versus 36, but his dexterity is much higher. So he's definitely a better mechanic. He's also a good medic with 70. Um, got his marksmanship up at 82 and his dexterity 86. Buzz just did her health, up to from the high 70s up to the high mid 80s. Her marksmanship was already 86. Her dexterity is already 87. Didn't need to do anything with her. MD got his health up from the low 70s to the mid 80s. Got his marksmanship up to 84, dexterity to 85. So again, got his dexterity up where it should be in the mid 80s for a medic. And then Ira got her health up to the mid 80s, got her marksmanship from an atrocious 55 all the way up to 86, and her dexterity we weren't shooting for her dexterity, but because her marksmanship was so bad, it pumps her all the way up. A dexterity of 94, which is amazing. Right, that's getting close to superhuman level, and got her experience level up to 3. Um, so going back through a little bit, talk about their experiences. Right, she's a teaching expert. Um, Ocelot has night ops. Night ops is really important because at nighttime, your sightlines are definitely reduced. During the daytime, you can snipe at somebody from a long way. They can snipe at you from a long way. So you have to be very careful how you move, so you're not moving in the open. At night, the sightlines are reduced. You can actually sneak up and get close to them, and you're close enough, almost close enough to be able to run up and punch them and grab their weapon. Not quite. So if you can get closer, that helps. But at night, any edge helps. Night ops lets you see one space further. Now, that means you're not quite as good as somebody with night operation goggles, NOGs, but you're better than anybody else. And then once you get NOGs, then you're the best. He also has auto weapons, which I don't really use until the end. There are times where I'll use it early in the game if there's somebody that I just need to take out because low AP. It's basically just the same as an aim shot, and then you can kill a guy with depending what your auto weapons is. So sometimes I'll use it. For the most part, I like to choose when I use my auto weapons. There's times where it's very useful, but I don't like it happen randomly because it maxes out your AP use for if you have 25 and a single shot would take like say 8 and an aim you can start aiming it up to 12. I might want to choose to only use 10, leaving me 15 to take two shots at somebody else. Well, if the marksmanship if it chooses marksmanship, it takes the full 12, and then it also lowers the magazine. What if I'm low on ammo? The reason I'm saying that is because Buzz has auto weapons and heavy weapons. Heavy weapons we don't use till the end. Auto weapons, I don't like to let her use at all because, like I said, I like to choose it. But because of her aggressive personality, and there's a couple other people like this too, they go crazy, they go psycho, and they shoot. Even though you chose an aim shot, if they have an auto weapon, they'll go automatic, and that wastes the ammo, uses up AP, and there's times where every AP might count. I don't want to waste it, so generally I just make her a sniper with her 96. Starting with 96 accuracy, and that will go up, maybe even up to 100 as we push her dexterity up. And then she's a great sniper. Dr. Q, martial arts. That means he can, at the lower levels, he can knock people out with just two punches. It's kind of important early when we're low on weapons. But later, he's also just deadly. He can um, kill something pretty easy with his fists. He also has night ops. I have three night ops guys. I have three squads I'm going to set up. So he's the leader of the second squad. He's also a medic guy. Should have also said, I think we talked about at the beginning, mechanical's 50, and I start with a mechanical toolkit. I'm a mechanic guy. My second mechanic guy for the first group is Barry Unger. He does lockpicking, which is needed out in Drassen. He has explosives, which is needed out in Drassen. 92 explosives. So he doesn't have an explosive skill. His skill's high enough that it counts as that, right? Um, so he's going out to the east. Steven is my third night ops guy. He's also good at teaching. Now, it's only a one level, not level two, not an expert like Ira. But because his leadership is 59, and his skill level is 5, being level 5, everything you do has more effect. That actually makes him the best trainer in the entire group. So I definitely am sending him out to the east because we need to train militia very rapidly. They give you kind of they act as lookouts for where the enemies are, and that can be very helpful to stopping a battle or getting to a battle before on my terms instead of on their terms. So he's definitely going out east. Um, Night ops and then teaching. He's the night ops guy for that group. Danny is ambidextrous. He's also got very high agility. Being ambidextrous, he can fire for the same amount of AP as someone shooting one weapon. He could shoot two, if as long as they can be held in two hands. So up to the submachine gun, but only the MP5K or the MAC-10. So normally pistols, then MP5K, and then later in the game that. But because he gets two shots for everybody else's one, that actually increases his skill and marksmanship much faster. Plus, I think with that agility, he just gets some shots that nobody else is able to take, so that can make him very deadly in pistol range, right? Or in submachine gun range, which is less than rifle range. So that again makes him very important at night. He does not have night vision, which would be a nice thing, but then he wouldn't have ambidextrous, right? But with the ability to take two shots and his agility being so high, he can actually sneak up along with Dr. Q on the bad guys, get him within pistol range, and then he can be devastating. Because where someone else needs their full AP to take 2 or 3 shots, he can put 4 or 6 bullets in somebody. So, and since it's closer with his marksmanship, those are almost always hits. So he's in the group going all the way to the far west. He's also a medic, along with Dr. Q, is in that group. Igor's going out with them. He's stealthy. Since they're a smaller group and they're going to definitely do a night attack, it's good to have everybody have some stealth or some ability, some night vision, some agility, because it's a little bit of a challenge to take on them, just those three, especially the nature of that location. He's also kind of a backup mechanic, as I think I mentioned. 36 mechanic, but a little low on dexterity. Thor, a little bit better mechanic, also a good backup medic. Um, Better medic, in fact, than Buns, who's 8748. He's 86 and 40. Um, oh, he's also got 61 leadership. He's pretty good. Makes me think I might have to switch him a little bit. Doesn't have teaching ability, but he has really high leadership. She has an expert teaching, but she also doesn't stay awake very easy. So what I was going to say is that between Steven's ability, Buns, she's got good leadership and the expert teaching, but she gets tired easily. So I generally start off with um, Steven and Ira training, and then when one of them gets a little bit tired, their ability starts to drop. Buns is usually fully rested. Bring her in. She gets tired really quickly, but by the time she's um, tired and her ability starts to drop, then I bring back in Ira, and that really maximizes the training. MD also has some teaching, but um, with his low leadership of level 4, it just takes him too long. He's really no better than Barry Unger is with leadership of 29. So you can maybe say that skill level is worth maybe 25 points of stats. I don't know. But so, anyways, how that breaks out um, is here are the towns we're going for: um, Drasen, San Mona, and Chitsena. And actually, not San Mona. San Mona is where the quests are that get some money. But then we're heading down to Estoni because I've learned. First of all, there's a night battle here that gets some good weapons. Down in Estoni, there's a character, a recruitable player character that doesn't cost me anything, really good at repairs. Also has the toolkit, and then down here we can sell extra junk for a little bit of cash, and then he sells junk. Basically trash versions of good things like a bipod or a mostly used up toolkit or mostly used up med kit. So we can actually get some good equipment down here or chem lights that need repairing. So once I found this out that it's down there, I usually it took me to the middle of the game to found it and like, wow, this is really useful stuff. What if I can get that from day one? Well, I found I can send my main character down here. He advances very rapidly with some good support. He can just camp in a stony and pick up a lot of good stuff. And the other good thing is that because Nadune is here and the main path over this area seems to go that way, right? I don't know. I guess you go over this way, but it does seem like they send all of the reinforcements to go retake Drassen through Estonia. Also, Chitsena goes through there. They can also go up the western road. For some reason, they come up through the central road. So that means that I can actually ambush all of the people that are coming through. It's going to be a lot of combat, a lot of equipment, a lot of weapons, um, and that will come into play as you'll see. So that's the three groups I'm sending. Um, Squad 1, Barry, Steven, Buns, and Ira over here. I'm sending then over to this area. I'm sending Danny, Dr. Q, and Igor, and then all the way down to Estonia, I'm sending Ocelot, Buzz, Thor, and MD. And right now, I'm beginning to think I might change that. I might change Buzz and Thor because don't know if we need that many medics down in this area, and Thor's going to be spending the first amount of time healing himself anyways. Um, his punching ability might really help out in Drassen. No, we're going to keep it this way just because he's going to take him too long to heal. Would actually slow down our ability to take the next step, which I'm not going to talk about for spoiler alert. Right. So the reason why I'm also going to Chitsena, why I decided to go that route, is because there's a mine in Chitsena. So once you take a mine, that gives you income. Since I'm going to have this many people, I could send half there and half down here, but I found that I won't say it was too easy, but it wasn't as much of a challenge as basically I found that I could spare three people. And so I have played once where I sent them out to Chitsena Mine and it was a challenge, but they took it. And so we're going to try that. I'm going to show you again. This is how I'm playing. This is how I would play at least the next several times until I decided that it was too hard. But so this is going to be a challenge. And so even though I'm doing a lot of these cheats that make things easier, I'm choosing things that make the challenge harder for me. All right. So um, okay, we're talking about um, hiring people, right? MD, I saved that money to be able to extend his contract. At that point, he cost $500. Now, um, since he's level 3, let's listen to what he says.
Nothing personal, but I was thinking that since my skills have improved, a raise in my fees might just be appropriate.
So now it costs 775. That's not expensive, but before I could have, if I'd done it before I did all that training, I could have had 3 days, and then I wouldn't have to worry about him for almost 48 hours before I have to worry about extending it. Um, but I made a mistake and I didn't do it. So now I can only get 2 days. It's basically throwing away $500. So it's going to take him a long time too, I think, to get to level 4. So I have plenty of time to extend him before he gets more expensive. Flip through this. Barry, long time. Steven, barely see anything. It's gonna be a long time before he hits level 6. Buns, Buns, she's halfway to level 3, but I think that's so she's a good candidate, right? She costs 725. Barry also went up in level. Let's hear what he says.
Skills improve, and so I must improve my price.
So that's just one of the things they do that everyone has their own dialogue, right? So Buns, that's a candidate. She's almost halfway there. Ira, she's really close, but we don't care because we don't pay her. I mean, we care. We want her to advance, but we actually want her to advance more than anybody because it doesn't cost us anything. Same with Ocelot. Buzz, she is a long way because of the amount of strength, health we added to her. It pumped her a long way towards level 5. But still, being level 4, it takes a lot longer to go from level 4 to level 5 than it does level 1 to level 2, or even level 3 to level 4. So she's got quite some time. Also, really, if we wanted to extend her, we can't afford it. She's a minimum of 2,200. So we'll wait on her until we get this quest done in San Mona. Thor, just barely into level 3. We're okay with him. Um, so even though he did get a level 3, he's just barely there. Long time before he gets to level 4. Dr. Q, look, he's already almost to the end of that 3. There's not much space before he comes level 4. Danny, almost as much. He's in the middle part of level 3. You can see Dr. Q's just a little bit farther over, right? That number's a little bit brighter. So he's the more deadly one. He's the more dangerous one. And then Igor, he's about a third of the way, but he's got some time before he gets there. So it's based on my experience. The first 24 hours, you get almost all the 24 hours. What I'm talking about is they'll definitely stay the full time unless you let them go, but other people are calling them to try to hire them, right? I can't remember if we did this. Let's go ahead and show you this. The people that aren't available, that we didn't hire, you can leave a message, and when they come back, they'll talk to you, right? So let's say Sydney, talk to him.
Sorry, Sydney Nettleson is currently unavailable. However, if you'd be kind enough to leave your particulars, I shall attempt to make contact with you shortly.
Now, what also doesn't seem fair is that we have to wait for them to come back before we can hire them. But the people that I think this one's kind of funny.
You've reached my video voicemail. Leave me a message. And Gumpy, if this is you, leave another message like the last one, and I'll send you a reply that explodes on impact. I'm not kidding.
So it kind of shows you what their personality is like, right? Um, and we'll look into Gumpy a little bit later, but it gives you a feeling like it's a small community, like they know each other, right? So I find that one kind of amusing. Shows their personality. But maybe someone left a message for some other offer. This isn't real, obviously. But so what I found is that like Steven, once he gets under 40 hours, once we've extended him out like past 48, once he gets under 40 hours, he starts entertaining other offers. And under 40, usually definitely by 32, but usually by under 40, he starts, you try to extend him and he says, I'm going to design a vault for some pharmaceutical place, to store their biologicals. Or from what it seems like Steven is the earliest. He's like 32 to 40. Danny seems to usually choose something else. A surgery that's going to get scheduled sometime between 30 and 36. Um, MD, I've had him cancel on him between 28 and 32. Not cancel, but I try to extend him. He says, no, I got something else to do. Thor will go run he's going to go run a marathon. He's about like maybe 30 to 34 hours. So you definitely, once we get past this initial time, it definitely is a race to try and get them out to at least a week and then never let them fall under 4 days. Um, or they will they'll finish out their account with you, but they won't accept an extension of the contract. So I'm choosing to do Dr. Q because I want to save the money. He's at 1,500 right now. He probably jumps up to 1,750. Danny's just 1,300. He jumps up to like 1,500. So even though that's the other thing is I've never seen Dr. Q or Buzz fail to extend a contract. So there may be a random element, or maybe their threshold's lower. I don't know. So actually, I should be more eager to do Danny and trust Dr. Q will stick around. But right now, every dollar counts. So I'm going to go ahead and extend Dr. Q. But for me, the people are the most important. That's what I like. I like the characters. I like playing with these characters. That's why there's somebody the voice acting I don't like. I don't play them. Somebody who's advances too slowly. I don't play them. I just don't like them. So sometimes in battles there's a random element, right? It's random where the enemies appear. They definitely follow the rules to where they go, but the weapons they have are random. Their drops are random. The hits or misses are random. So the amount of damage you take is random. Um, sometimes you make a mistake, whether you make a mistake or not, it's kind of random, I guess you could say. So sometimes you can have a great battle where you end up with great equipment drops, great weapons, no damage, and you want to keep that. And other times you do a battle and you end up horrible, so you want to restart and redo it. Well, my people are so important to me that I would rather lose a excellent battle, a top-notch battle, a battle that I have no chance of replicating. I'd rather lose them to be able to keep my people. So before you pay out, I think it's smart to, and sometimes I forget, but to set up a pre-payout. I don't know if this makes or not, right? But a pre-payout. So I'm choosing to pay out
The
Dr.
renewal
Q.
is agreeable to me.
But if in about 8 hours, when we get more money and I try to extend Danny, he says, no, I'm doing something else. Then I can actually come back here and and choose to renew Danny instead, and then do Dr. Q and accept that cost. So that's what we're doing. All right, so here's our groups. I think I've explained everything I want to explain. If not, we'll explain it later. Send them out here.
Roger.
Even though I'm sending them out to Drassen, there is a scripted battle that will happen on one of these 3 roads, one of these 3 road sectors. So even after the battle, you want to stop one short of Drassen because there's some equipment to pick up there. So just to let you know. Sometimes does not hurt to stop along the way and see what you run into when you're on a trip. Sometimes it will tell you, you've noticed something in the square. Sometimes it won't. Okay, so we're sending all 3 groups out to San Mona.
I'm
And
on it.
then after San Mona, we'll split into one group going to Chitsana and one coming down to Estoni. All right, that's a good place to stop. And I think it's also good, even if I had not done a payout, or if I'd done a payout earlier, I think it's also a good time to set another save point here called split point. So if things go horribly badly, and I realize that dividing into 3 groups was really stupid, I should have divided into 2. Or I should have sent someone different in a different group. I should have sent Thor out to Chitsana and someone, and Igor out to Chasen and or Drassen, and then all that. Then I have a save point here, and I'll keep that until probably day 3 or day 4, when things have advanced enough that I want to get rid of it. I do think you shouldn't build up your too many save things. It seems like, and it could be correlation, not causation, but it seemed like when I had 80 different save points, that I would get errors by day 3, every time by day 3. But the times that I've kept it down under 20, usually around 15, I haven't developed any errors. So that's what I like to stick with. Okay, that's enough for this time. We'll stop here, and then next time we will start our next series of battles. All right, good seeing you. Take care. Stop by again.